This is a brief video on how to properly use a tape measure to measure brake stroke. There are several different types on the market, and some have fractional markings on the tape itself, but some do not, and others may have a metric marking that may confuse some techs when measuring brake stroke. Hopefully I can make this a little less confusing. I'm going to show you the easiest way to read a tape measure. Your tape measure has a bunch of lines on it. For this example, I'm using the ones between the 1 and 2 inch marks. However, they're all marked the same in between the fractional scales. The longest line directly between the two is your half-inch mark. The next two lines that are a little shorter are your 1/4 and 3/4 inch marks. Now there are 4 marks spaced evenly between each of the 1/4 and 3/4 inch marks. These are your 1/8, your 3/8, your 5/8, and your 7/8 inch marks. For us, these are the smallest marks you'll need to use for doing brake stroke measurements. Now there are also normally 3 smaller marks between each of the 1/8 inch marks. These are 32nd and 64th, and we aren't getting into that finite for measurement. We are only going to be marking to the nearest 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, half inch, 5/8, 3/4, and 7/8, and of course the full inch. So that being said, since there is no decimal reference on your tape measure, do not ever record the value as a decimal like 1.2, 1.4, and so forth. These measurements will be rejected if submitted on the checklist. So, just as a reminder, to do an applied brake stroke measurement, fully air up the unit and release the parking brakes. Mark the chamber push rod with either a Sharpie, paint pen, or a zip tie, and apply the service brake fully to get at least a 90 psi application. Then measure the chamber from the base to the mark. In this example, it is at the 7/8 inch line past the 1 inch mark. So this stroke measures 1 7/8 inch. It's then written in the space that matches the position as a fraction. This example, the mark is closest to the 3/4 inch line past the 1 inch mark. So this measures 1 3/4 inches. Now in the last example, the closest mark is at the half inch line past the 2 inch mark. This measurement is 2.5 inches. This is considered out of spec, so line 3.21 will be X'd out for further inspection.